Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
Hi guys, I'm Scott Speed, driver of this amazing Volkswagen Beetle GRC car. I got good news for the iRacing fam. We got this coming in. I'm currently working on it myself personally to make sure that it is as accurate as possible. With the addition of dirt and now this mean car, it is gonna be so fun. And it's gonna be available free to all the iRacing members. Personally, I can't wait to get out there and race you guys on it.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to V8s Online's live coverage of Thursday night IMSA. Tonight we are bringing you round 2 of the Club AusNZ IMSA series, coming to you from Watkins Glen in New York, USA. Jay Kennedy in the booth, and alongside me tonight once again I've got Bo Albert jumping alongside me. G'day mate, how you going?
Hey Jay, stoked to be back in the commentary booth. Really looking forward to this one. Watkins Glen has a little bit of everything. We've got some high-speed flowing corners with elevation changes, a number of brilliant overtaking zones such as the 90-degree turn 1, and hey, who could forget the infamous bus stop chicane? I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait either. It's going to be an awesome race tonight. 75 minutes ahead for the drivers tonight. We've got a bit more of an even split in regards to classes tonight too. So we've got 11 in the DP class, 11 in GTE, and 10 in GT3. So a nice even split for tonight's event. Really looking forward to it, and a very, very high strength of field in most of the classes tonight. So we should have a good point score for most of the drivers out there tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that, you know, we're only 2 rounds in and we already have a strength of field in the GTE class of 5,200. That is ridiculous. So these drivers you're going to be seeing are going to be the best of the bunch, and we're going to have some great racing in that class tonight, but also in the other classes as well, as the overall strength of field is 4,000, so we have some quality drivers and should get some quality entertainment.
Yeah, for sure. Not quite as many drivers as we saw last week in the overall scheme of things, but a much more even split in regards to what cars we have. We've got an increase in GT3 and also an increase in... we've got the same GT3, an increase in DP. So that'll be really, really good. We're going to have a nice even mix. We should have some really, really good racing tonight. So we've got about 2 minutes left in qualifying. So the drivers aren't far off completing their laps. Lewis Gallon leading the way in the DP class. Milos Pavlovic, I'm going to butcher his name, he is leading GTE. And Zazion, we'll go with that. It'll be completely wrong. I'm hopeless at names. If anyone has never noticed in the last 5.5 years, I'm hopeless, so I butcher everyone's name, but at least I do it to everyone. So he's leading the way in GT3.
They're not making it easy on you,
No,
are they?
I know.
But we've got some new faces up the front in both GTE and GT3, so that's good news. Going to spice the championship up just a little bit. But Luis Paulo Gallon continues his stranglehold over the DP class, but he has some new faces within this race as well, including Gabriel Ruse, who is very, very close behind. So let's hope that those two can have a fantastic race and maybe get another finish just like we did in the DP class at Suzuka.
Yeah, it's been highly entertaining racing throughout the week at Suzuka last week. Of course, culminating in the midweek Sports Car Championship, which we broadcast on Monday night. It was a fun event, a 3-hour race. We'll do that again this week on Tuesday night, or next week, Tuesday night. Big week of racing here at Watkins Glen with the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series, the EMR Porsche Super Cup, and also the official V8s here this week as well. So a big week at Watkins Glen, and not far away from getting underway at the end of qualifying. About a minute left on the clock, so won't take long for that clock to wind down to 0, and we'll bring you the starting grid as it is right now. On board with Wayne Hewitt at the moment, just finishing his last couple of laps.
Looks like all the GTE cars now have finished up their laps, so that's that class done.
Looks like pretty much everyone's actually put in a lap as well. There's one in the DP class and one in GTE that have not completed a lap, but everyone else has, so which is always really, really good to see everyone doing qualifying. It's tough in these multi-class races. We saw last week Richard Hampstead getting stuck right at the back of the field and working his way through it absolutely hindered his race. So fortunately we won't see that again tonight too much.
Bit of an easier track to pass than it was at Suzuka, so
yeah,
wouldn't hurt quite as much, but it's still not something you want to do at the start of a 1 hour and 15-minute race. So that looks like the grid is now set, and the drivers will now be beginning to head onto the grid, and Jay, want to head through the starting positions?
Yeah, so starting from P1 is Lewis Gallon. In P2, Gabriel Ruse. Then we've got Wayne Burke in third, Clint Smith in fourth, Heath Brennan in fifth position, Wayne Hewitt in position 6, Blake Haswell in 7th, Joshua Burden in 8th, and Paul Freely 9th. Rounding out the qualifiers in the DP class. Got GTE next, which is Milos Pavlovic. Gee, I'm absolutely hopeless with names tonight. Elliot Biddle in P2, Dustin Hickman next. Then we've got Sindre Setsas, Darren Marsh, Maxim Berint, Zach Hanlon, Vale Riches, Patrick Flees, Gerald Chevalier. Jeez, I'm doing really well. Your turn for GT3.
Just quickly switch over now to that. So in your GT3 class, we have Georgi Zajon rounding the field off with Ross Rizzo just behind. Very close qualifying times with those guys. Andreas A. Sekas will be coming off third in that class, followed by Benjamin Haxon. Jorge Blasco-Vals, who of course won Suzuka with that brilliant strategy call over the 2 TTL cars last week. Behind him is Analogy Jacobsu and Trent Thomas, followed by Scott Stevens, ERT Hornet Martin Silvasi, Netchin Cameron, and rounding off your GT3 field is Carl Ray. Carl.
Yeah, Raper, I'm not sure which one you'd say. We'll go with Rapper. Then you got Pierre Leonardi, and we've got Sam Dakey. Sam actually messages, so it's Dakey.
Okay.
After we
Sam
got it,
Dakey.
we did get it wrong last week. We both got it wrong, and whichever way we tried, we were definitely wrong. So, Dakey.
Wouldn't be a V8 online broadcast if we didn't make a bit of a meal of things, but cars now on their formation lap, taking a nice scenic tour around this beautiful circuit through the undulating S's at the start of the lap. But next time they see these corners, there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the helmets of these cars.
Yeah, for sure. It's a ultra quick track, one that we're very, very used to here with our broadcast at V8 Online. Always brings some awesome action out on track here, this circuit. Really looking forward to this race. Cannot wait. Should be awesome to watch the whole way through the field with all 3 classes as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see battles galore throughout the entire race. It will be an absolutely fantastic race. Bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it on. We're not going to just see battles on this very wide track too, which does offer plenty of passing opportunities, but we're also going to see it in the pits as well. It is a half an hour longer race than we had last week, so strategy is going to become a bit more of a factor, and we saw last week that can change the class results on its head. So these drivers have a lot to think about in this race. It's a bit different to last week, but I'm sure they're up for the challenge. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fantastic. Plenty of places around this track to pass, race, go side by side, do what you want. You can do it here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's an awesome track, one that we love here at V8 Online. It's one of our favourites. And with these new cars out on track as well, it is making an absolute spectacle. Love the fact that we have Ferrari. Love the fact that we've got a new Ford GT. Reese and I spoke about it on Tuesday night. We think back to the days when we first started broadcasting. To hear that we are saying Ferrari, Mercedes, and Audi in a broadcasted race is just absolutely surreal. So love having all these cars in these races. It's fantastic.
One thing I do just want to pick out on right now is that the grids are very, very spread out. We have the the Daytona prototypes not far away from the start-finish line now, but the GTEs have a huge gap behind and an even bigger gap to the GT3s behind. So this class is very spread out. So it's going to be interesting on the start, but at least we won't have any traffic problems. But very big gap and a bit bigger than we're used to seeing, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you guys learnt from last week, we saw it was a bit congested right at the start. There's been a lot of conjecture about the start, especially between GTE and GT3 last week. They're a little bit too close, giving the DP a bit more room, especially the fact that they don't have tyre warmers. They do struggle to get away at the start of these races sometimes. So coming through the final corner to get this race underway. We've got 75 minutes of racing here, And Lewis Gallon away very, very quickly.
That's a big jump by Lewis in that green TTR car as they all funnel their way into turn 1. Doesn't look like there's going to be too many attempting any big moves, which is great to see. It's a long race, don't try anything too aggressive, and your entire DP class will get through turn 1 clean.
It looks like... sorry, there we go. Just clicking the wrong button. There we got GTE underway. And
and
GT...
we've got a car around. That's
Yep.
Dustin Hickman in the Ferrari. He's been turned at turn 1. Looks like he might be the only casualty in our sprint too soon as we have an ERT car plowing into the wall, and there was a few others involved there.
Yeah, Zach
That's
Hanlon
a big
as well.
crash.
And Darren Marsh too, all involved there. We'll try and get a replay of what exactly happened there.
Got to be
that
careful
was
though,
very
the
messy.
GT3s now barrel their way into turn 1. They all make it through, so thankfully GTEs was the biggest mess of it all, but that's a nightmare for a lot of those guys as your DPs continue to funnel their way around the first lap.
Yeah, 3 into 2 just there. There was a car off or a bit wide at the exit of 1, which I'm pretty sure was Vale Riches. He ended up making contact with his teammate Darren Marsh, who's then made contact with Zach Hanlon, who's pushed him into the fence, and he's race done. We'll go to the front of the GT3 class. With Zazon pulling away, but that next battle pack is quite heated. Got Hakeson and Val's side by side.
Quite a lot of cars in that group as Val's of course won the Suzuka round, but he's not having any luck right now finding a way around Benjamin Haxon in that black and multicolored SLS. That's AMG. That's quite a livery on there, so we won't be able to miss him on track.
Yeah, it's very colourful.
Val's having another look now. Will he go for it? He has half a look, but thinks better of it, and looks like they'll get through lap 1 unscathed too.
Bruce and Burke were side by side coming into the S's. Burke backed out of it and is tucked in behind. Apologies to a few drivers, and Trading Paints isn't working properly at the moment, so there's a few blank liveries out there, but there's a few that are working, so hopefully I can fix that during the race.
Big slide through the bus stop there for Gabriel Ruse. He spent most of that corner with opposite lock rather than actually turning into the corner. But out front, Luis Paulo Gallon, he's pulled a massive lead. He's benefited from this, and the battle pack behind is definitely not helping each other. Burden.
Dakey made contact. Try and get a replay of what exactly happened.
I was watching the battle up front and I heard that from a mile away, so big hit for those two cars, and they're still going to continue racing on. Doesn't look like they've got too much physical damage to the car, but cosmetically it doesn't look fantastic. Oh, and they've come together again into the next corner. A big hit on by Doki, and they've collected each other for a third time. It's just getting all a bit messy down there.
It started with Josh Burden locked the brakes up, trying to not hit the car ahead of him, which I'm pretty sure was Paul Feely. And we'll stay with this replay and pick up all of the contact between these two guys.
Definitely a little bit of frustration between those two.
Yeah, that was a little bit silly between those two boys there. Probably not needed on a 75-minute race. They could have just raced on.
It's only 75 minutes. You've got to win on the first lap, don't you?
Exactly right. Got Heath Brennan battling with Clint Smith coming into the bus stop chicane.
Keeping it single file, nice to see. Nothing too aggressive being thrown right now in the race, but you can bet with 10 minutes to go, they're not going to be quite so polite into that final chicane, and I can't wait to see those guys battling it out. As we have quite a few cars now in the pits, of course, with that damage, which is a shame to see. But hopefully we can get these cars back out on the track and race again. Bit of misinformation by me. Do we have a fast repair in this race or not?
No, there's no fast repair, so whatever damage they've got to deal with. So battle
bit
for
of a shame.
Second and third in GT3 is looking very, very hot at the moment between Ross Rizzo, the trailing car, with Andreas Seekers, the lead car in this pack.
I believe those cars are actually second and third, so
Yep.
Those two very, very high up the field, but
Zarzon's way by about a second, and these two, yeah, second and third in class.
Just having a look through the field, and I actually believe the entire GT3 field is in Mercedes. So it's not the GT3 class; it's in fact the AMG class, which is a bit of a shame because I think those LDR8s are a gorgeous car and they sound even better. But sadly, the BOP hasn't quite worked for them in this build of iRacing, as Ross Rizzo continues to hound the back of Sakers and just letting him know he's there. Nothing too sinister just yet, but they don't want to afford to battle each other too hard, as Jorge Blasco Valls is just behind them, about a second away, but we've seen how quick that driver can be in that car.
Good on Blake Haswell and Wayne Hewitt on screen. This is, oh sorry, just saw a change of position on the timing between Gabriel Roos and Wayne Burke for second and third outright. Burke was ahead and throws it up the inside. Big move.
Huge move, but he's going to hold it around the outside, so they're going to go side by side into this next corner. I believe it's Wayne Burke on the inside. He's going to have the better opportunity, but tell you what, Roos might be able to outdrag him. Can't quite do it. They leave enough room. Fantastic racing by these two, but they're just letting Heath Brennan just ease up just a little bit, and this is going to get very spicy. Oh, big lock up by Burke. Holds it together. By Roos, but they keep it away from each other. But that was a bit close, Jay.
That was a bit messy. Oh, I thought Roos was absolutely going to drill into the back of Burke there, but looks like Roos is now feeling a bit of pressure and he's starting to make a few mistakes. And this all of a sudden, well, Burke's just driven away. He's already a second clear.
Burke's a very talented driver. I've come across him a few times, but yeah, he's made great advantage of that situation. But Heath Brennan and Clint Shane Smith now just beginning to ease their way. So DPs, just like they were in Suzuka, they're nose to tail.
Fourth and fifth in GTE is quite close as well. So Vale Riches and Dustin Hickman. Hickman, of course, involved in the lap 1 incident. He managed to keep it going, and very, very quick driver. Two of the quickest drivers out on track, probably, is Hickman up the inside. Move done.
Yep, both those drivers with extremely high I ratings, with a 6,500 and 5,900 respectively. So safe to say this isn't their first time racing on iRacing, but Virich is now looking in the slipstream of Hickman toward the bus stop. I don't think he'll have a move, but Virich is a brave man, so we'll see what he does. Thinks about it, but not today.
Seekers and Rizzo is still going on. Now, my apologies, the on-screen timing's not working properly at the moment. I'll try to fix that and trying to fix the paint issue at the same time. I'll hopefully have it sorted during the race at some point, but we've still got an hour and 6 minutes left in this race.
Yep, very long race, so nothing's decided just yet. But just having a look through your GT3 field as well, we have Martin Silvasi, one of my ERT Hornet teammates, and he's got Kyle Rapper just behind him, keeping him for company, so those two are pretty close. Silvasi started just a little bit down the field, so he's making his way through, which is good to see. But right now, in your GTE class, as we move further up the field, Milos Pavlovic, he's just gone. That Ford GTE, which has been a bit of a avoided car in that GTE class, he's made it like a rocket ship, and off he's gone. Elliot Biddle has struggled to keep up with him. They're matching each other for lap times now, but Pavlovic, it's about 4 seconds up the road.
Yeah, 4.5 I think it is at the line. And another 5 seconds back is Bryant after that. So a fair way back down the road, the rest of that GTE field. It's fairly spread, first, second and third, but could change when we get to pit stop time. Heath Brennan, Clint Smith still going on. They were battling earlier, and we saw Brennan close right up to the back of Roos, but Roos is now pulled away again and starting to close back up onto Wayne Burke.
The EP class is pretty full of battles at the moment, as we have Blake Haswell and Wayne G. Hewitt separated by just a few tenths right now, and Hewitt had quite a big move into the last corner, just trying to gain any time he could, and made quite a fair bit of time up, so he's doing very, very well behind Blake Haswell. But those two just getting a little bit closer now, so that could be a battle to watch out for in the future.
Yeah, and Paul Feely getting in on the back of that too. He's closed up in the last little bit, so keep an eye on that as Feely. That was lucky there for him.
The commentator curse is strong tonight.
Oh, it's good. I've never lost it. Now, GT3 has closed quite dramatically in the last little half a lap. Zazon's made a little bit of a mistake, and now less than, or just on half a second now between first and second, then another 0.3 back to third.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there. I'll try and go have a little look there, but once those cars, the car in front of you, when you're second and third or so, when you see that leader slowly coming back to you, that's a massive motivation boost, and it's just going to make you want to keep digging and digging. So that mistake by Zarjon, wherever it was, that's cost him a fair bit, because now the psychological advantage does go back to Sakers, and he's going to attack pretty hard.
Heath Brennan and Clint Smith closing up as well, but we'll stay with the GT3 battle at this stage.
I've just had a little look and I can't actually see where he's lost that time, so perhaps he's used his tyres up just a little bit too much in those opening laps and is starting to feel the consequences, as we are now 17 minutes into this race, I believe. So still got Zarjon out in front, but definitely going to start feeling the pressure if he has used his tyres up a bit too early in the race, which is easy to do in these GT3 cars with the ABS and whatnot. It can sometimes give you a bit too much confidence and you start to work the car a bit harder than you probably should. And this is the result of that.
Change of position in the DP class with Wayne Hewitt now ahead of Blake Haswell. Just missed the actual move being made, but that was a move that I'm guessing would have taken a little while, because Hewitt was there ready to make that move. He was there for a long time. So we've got Carl Rapper and Scott Stevens almost bump drafting down the main straight. Stevens is going to throw it up the inside into the bus stop. Oh! And Rapper cuts the corner. He'll have to give up that position because he has definitely cut that corner.
Still holding on around the outside, but there we go.
Yeah,
Job
move
done.
Yeah, he's going to have to give up a bit more time, I think, due to the slowdown penalty that I'm sure he has received.
I'm sure the driver behind of Netchen Cameron won't mind too much as that car slowly gets closer and closer to him. But we'll see how those two go in the next few laps. But out front, Zarjon's just stretched that lead of GT3 a little bit more, not by a huge amount, but actually, as I say that, it looks to have closed up once more. So that field fluctuating a little bit.
Leader outright, Lewis Gallon, about to come up to the rear of the GT3 field. So this is where it'll start getting really messy. We'll just tick on to an hour to go in just a little bit. This is the longest race we will have in this season. We'll also have another 75-minute race later in the season, but I love these longer races. They get a little bit of strategy involved, a little bit of gamesmanship between different drivers in regards to strategy and the like. I really think they're really interesting when they've got this extra element, especially with the traffic that these guys are going to have to battle with.
Yeah, and that's one thing that also affects the strategy you play. Is it's not just your fuel and how your tyres are, it's can you make the best of your strategy in traffic. So perhaps, you know, in Lewis's situation a bit further down in the race, he can pit a bit earlier than he would ideally do, but it will give him that advantage to get out of traffic as he makes a very aggressive move on that red Mercedes. We're definitely risking it to try and stretch that lead out, which is only 2.5 seconds over Wayne C. Burke, as Wayne fires it up inside of a Mercedes. So these DPs are being pretty aggressive in traffic right now, but plenty of tyre grip in those cars right now, so they're making it useful.
Heath Brennan and Clint Smith still nice and tight and close, which is good to see. These guys will go at it pretty much all race, I reckon. Hewitt, Haswell and Feely still going on as well. Feely's managed to close back up onto the back of Haswell, and Hewitt's pulled away a little. We saw Feely before make that little bit of a mistake, and he dropped off this little battle pack. So good job to close it back up again.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to remember in these Corvettes is they are quite aero efficient with the splitters and the canards at the front of the car. So once you get behind that other car, as something's happening.
Yeah, Feely just dropped off. He almost looped it, coming back onto the main course out of the boot.
It's pretty easy to do. It's a very bumpy corner there as it transitions back onto the NASCAR version of the track. But just as I was saying, these cars obviously get quite affected by aero quite a lot, so that dirty air can cost you quite a bit. So perhaps Blake Haswell is just feeling that now. He was holding that position as he was in clear air. The second he gets behind Wenji Hewitt, and he's just struggling for grip a little bit.
Front of GT3, it's definitely a very, very tight and close battle. Zarzon, Sekas and Rizzo. So we're now under 1 hour left in this race, 59 minutes.
Just having a look now, and we're actually starting to get a little bit of an interesting fight happening at the very, very front of your DP class with Lewis Paul Gallen and Wayne C. Burke. Still a second separating the two, but just a few laps to go, that was 2.5 seconds. So Wayne Burke's just making this traffic work for him a little bit better now and is making huge inroads on Luis, who so far in the series have been pretty dominant in that class, leading from start to finish at Suzuka. But Wayne's not going to let him have it so easy, and Luis just getting held up in that corner onto the NASCAR circuit just a little bit. So Wayne continues to close that gap in the DP class.
Yeah, last lap around he lost 1.3 seconds in comparison to Burke, so that gap now settled around about 1.4 seconds. And he's about the same lap time that time around for both drivers, 140.
Just noticed as well on that lap that Maxime Bryans has lost the position to Dustin Hickman, who is on a charge right now, setting blistering lap times, actually some of the quickest in class right now. But that's another move for Dustin Hickman, so that lap 1 spin at turn 1 has hurt him a little bit, but he's making very big inroads now.
Yeah, he's looking quite good at the moment. He's got very, very good pace, so we'll keep an eye on him. Pit stops possibly will help him out in regards to catching up, but gap back to the leader in class, 12.5 seconds at the moment. So a little bit of work to do, but see how he goes.
Yeah, 12.5 seconds is never easy to make up, but that's one thing that IMSA series produces, is because it's multi-class, there's many, many different variables on how you can actually make that time up. So definitely not over yet for Dustin Hickman. In a sprint race, 12.5 seconds, it might be game over, but not in IMSA.
Especially at Watkins as well, a track where draft plays a big thing. You can work with the car behind you to actually initiate the draft in the right spot and work together in passing each other at the right spot. Work with the traffic and use that draft of the passing cars to your advantage up through the S's and down the back straight. It's definitely not over. And one mistake here at Watkins as well. Very, very easy to do, make a mistake. So it could change very, very quickly.
Speaking of changing very quickly, the gap between the two DP cars out front is changing very, very quickly. Wayne C. Burke is nearly within touching distance of Luis Paulo Gallen, and Gallen continues to be affected by traffic. Finally gets through a massive gaggle of GT3 cars, but he lost a huge amount of time there, and Wayne C. Burke's made huge inroads. Just lost a little bit there, but on that last lap, the gap came down to just 0.4 of a second, so Luis not having anywhere near as easy of a time as Wayne C. Burke in this traffic.
Yeah, got a little bit of an advantage through the S's because Wayne Burke got held up a little through the second part of the S's, but definitely hasn't had it as easy as he'd like, and definitely not as easy as he had it last week. As see an issue for Wayne Hewitt, he's facing the wrong direction at the bus stop. Try and pick up a replay as to what's happened to him. But he was starting to make really, really good inroads, starting to close in on Clint Smith, but he's now dropped back to last running car in the DP class.
A big shame, and by the looks of it, he's
self-spin
too.
Spun it all on his own, And looks like he's managed to get it going again, but I'm guessing those tyres are feeling a bit second-hand.
Yeah, having a spin there will definitely heat your tyres up, and he'll have a bunch of grass on the tyres too, so bit of a messy few corners afterwards, as you'd perhaps expect, but that's a shame as he was making some pretty good inroads, and he was lying 6th in class.
Battle for 5th and 6th in GTE on screen at the moment. Oh, as you just see Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke's got an issue. He's spun at the final corner. Oh, see if we can pick up a replay as to what's happened, but that's devastating for Burke. He was right on the tail for the lead in this outright race, and he's now dropped back to P7. Just a big drift. Around it goes. He's kept it off the wall, which is good.
Classic case of one wheel on the grass as well as he turned in, so big shame for Wayne.
Yeah, a lot of work to do to get that time back now. Which he was right there too, which is going to be the hardest thing for him. But he's dropped back to 7th in class now. So on screen at the moment we've got 5th and 6th in GTE, Setsas and Riches. Rich is a very, very well known name in V8's Online broadcast. Disappeared off the screens for a little while, but back out there enjoying the GTE, enjoying the Ferrari.
Nice to see some Fords out in the field though. Last week we were obviously a little bit strapped. I think we only might have had one Ford, but I believe tonight we have 2 or 3, so they're getting a bit more love, which is nice to see. But right now the Ford holds the all-important position of P1 in that class, and by a big margin too, of 6 seconds over the second place car of Elliot Biddle. So Milos Pavlovich is doing a massive job in that car and continues to pull away from all the cars behind.
Yeah, good to see we've actually got a Ford GTE out on track. There's been a lot of talk about the issues with the car in regards to damage and the like. So yeah, good to see a Ford out there doing quite well.
Field now just stuck in traffic as there's a big gaggle of Daytona prototypes all scything their way through a big battle of GT3s. So lots going on in that class, as I believe I was just seeing a move there in your GT3 class. Blasco Val's having a bit of a look at Andreas Asakis, who's actually lost 2nd place.
And Rizzo's pulled away as well. So we've missed that, unfortunately. Just watching as well, Wayne Burke starting to make his way through the field. There's a bit of a pack of DP cars just ahead of this battle that we're watching with Seekers and Vals.
Much of this race is there are some big moves being made just there with your DP field going through the GTs, so a lot of those guys are making some very risky passes, as we saw some last minute dives under brakes, so DP's risking it a lot.
Lewis Gallon's just done the fastest lap of the race then, a 140.086. He's watching on board with Wayne Burke as he's trying to make his way back through the field. He's in P7. Very, very tough when you lose a position or a couple of positions. You know you've got the pace on the cars ahead, but you've got traffic as well. Makes it very, very tough.
Yeah, it's not easy, but right now Wayne Burke doesn't seem to mind how hard it is. He's going to try and make it work as much as he can, as he keeps the throttle pinned through the S's as he works his way onto the back of Blake Haswell in front. This car's not getting enough of a draft to make anything work into the bus stop, but Wayne is very aggressive. FSR car off the road at the bus stop.
Yeah, that's Heath Brennan.
And we have another DP slow on the outside too, so is that a redress happening perhaps?
Paul Feely's just dropped. We'll try and pick up a replay and see exactly what happened with Brennan. I think Feely just let Burke through because he knew he was faster. See Brendan off the track. We'll see if we can go back a bit further. Here we go. That's painful for Brendan because he was third at that point.
Starting to feel a bit like the old Monaco Grand Prix, where if you're in a high finishing position, you have to spin or throw it away in the DP class right now. No one seems to want to win. What that has actually done is created quite a nice battle pack between a few DPs. We have 4 within about 2 seconds, so that's nice to see, but we'll see if they start fighting it out, as Wenty Burke has actually made his way to the front of that field, so he's made his moves through that through the other DP cars, so we'll see if he can begin to close down the gap to Clint Shane Smith, but that's a 10-second difference between those 2 cars.
Yeah, it's going to be a fairly long way back through the field. Go to the battle that we were watching before between Sikas and Vals. That's very, very tight at the moment. Vals looks like he's got the pace, he just can't find the right spot to get the pass done, but right on cue, here we go. He's got the run through the S's and he'll get the move done into the bus stop chicane.
Big move, but very well done there. Straight up the inside, as easy as you like on Andreas Sakers. So nice move by Jorge Blasco Vals, but nice to see that he has the racecraft to match his extreme pace and strategy calls he made at Suzuka. So we'll see what he can do. The cars in front of him are only about 3 or 4 seconds in front. So in this middle part of the stint here in GT3, Vals is just beginning to come into his own a little bit.
And just ahead, the battle for the outright lead in GT3 is well and truly on. Rizzo is closed up as Lewis Gallon's just done a 39, the fastest lap of the race again, 139.8. But Ross Rizzo is closing up for this position for the lead in GT3.
And not slowly either. On that last lap, there was 7/10 difference with Rizzo taking huge amounts of time out of our leader there. So this is going to get feisty very quickly if Rizzo can keep this pace up over Zarjon, as we'll see what their times are as they come across the start-finish line this lap. But right now, Rizzo is doing a fantastic job as Zarjon comes across the 9 with a 47 dead, and Rizzo can't respond, so Daps just come out a little bit on that last lap.
It's the fastest lap of the race in GT3, so that's the way to respond when you've got someone closing up really, really fast, is punch out the fastest lap. Both those guys there have just done their fastest laps. So just seeing an issue with Blake Haswell. He's off the track at the bus stop chicane. He had Heath Brennan right on his tail, but he's now lost that spot. And oh, that's not going to be good for your suspension coming back on like that. Try and pick up a replay of what's happened, but Haswell now drops back to 9th in class.
Yeah, he hasn't had the easiest few laps. I think we saw him off the road just a few laps ago as well, so a bit of a shame for him. But
just missed the corner and gone straight ahead, kept it off the wall, but then this rejoin that we're just about to see now, this is not going to be too good on your suspension. The big bounce just there, and he's ducked back in behind Wayne Hewitt. Sam Dakey is now up to 7th. He started last in this class. He was a fair way back in the field, involved in that issue with Josh Burden earlier in the race on lap 1.
Yep, so he's making his way through the field very nicely in that green and gold car, so very good job from him. As he just rounds the final corner, a little bit of damage on his car, so hasn't had the easiest way finding his way through this field, but in this field, you're not going to get an easy position anywhere with this level of talent with these cars. So Dakey continues to make his way through the field, and let's see if he can pull away from Hewitt behind.
We're at the front of GT3. It is really, really tight now. It's down to under half a second. That time around, 6/10 gain for Ross Rizzo. It's just on half a second now, the battle for this lead in class.
These two are definitely finding it out pretty hard. Their lap times are pretty inconsistent, so That's one way you can tell that they're pushing very hard, but Rizzo gets within a tenth of the fastest lap of the race in GT3 on that last lap, so big effort by him. And through that bus stop, he's just taking even more time out of Zarjon. This is on for young and old right now, as the gap is down to nothing.
Yeah, we don't need a clock on or a stopwatch on how big this gap is. You can see it. There's nothing between these two now. Rizzo's definitely got the best pace out of this pack.
These two, of course, in the same cars, both Mercedes AMG GT3s, so no car's going to have an advantage over the other, but Rizzo right now continues to hound the back of Zarjon. So what do you think he'll do? Do you think he'll go for an on-track pass, or do you think this is the time where he'll start to maybe think about strategy, perhaps fuel save, and get him in the pits and do a runner from there?
The issue he's going to have is Zazon pulled away right at the start, and has he already been fuel saving? And is he fuel saving now, which is why the gap's closed up? It's a hard decision for Rizzo to make. I think he has to try and make the move when he's got a chance to, and try and pit either before or at the same time to make sure there's no undercut. Interesting, Gabriel Ruse has just done the fastest lap of the race, 39.8 as well, so starting to close up at the front of DP as well.
Yeah, that's good to see. Luis Paulo Gallen, he's had one challenger today and he's been able to fend him off, but Gabriel Ruse is next up on the chopping blocks, and we'll see how this round goes between those two. But as you said, Ruse is putting in a huge effort right now, and Gallen's struggling to respond. And he actually gets stuck in traffic once more, so if there's one thing Gallen's taking away from tonight, it's that he needs to perhaps work on how he gets through traffic, as he makes a big move on the inside of the 4GTE there. But that's definitely costing him just a little bit today. Perhaps being a bit cautious. He's out in front, so he has nothing to gain by going quick, but it is just giving that opportunity to Gabriel Ruse just behind to close the gap down further. It was 2.6 seconds before that last lap, and it's down to 2.1, so half a second now gain for Gabriel Ruse as he closes in on Luis Paulo Gallen.
Yeah, give it a couple more laps and I think this will well and truly be on. It'll be interesting to see at the pits as well which drivers decide to take tyres and which drivers will just fill her up and go again. Let's just see now Wayne Burke's done the fastest lap of the race in that class with a 39.8 as well, so this battle is definitely not over at the front of the DP class. But speaking of at the front of class, have a look at GT3 again. It's on right now. Ross Rizzo is there and could make a move very, very soon.
Yeah, it's definitely all the gap now is just absolutely extinguished. These two are toe-to-toe right now, which is fantastic to see. It's what we want to see. And Ross Rizzo is going to get very, very feisty behind Zarjon any time now as they come across the start-finish line. Once more to start lap 19. And is this going to be the lucky lap for Ross Rizzo as he dives the car hard into turn 1?
We're almost at the halfway point in this race. 41 minutes left to go in this race. So basically what the guys raced last week, they've still got to go. Here we go. Big defend from Zazon up the inside. Rizzo not able to do it around the outside. That would have been very, very interesting if you had kept it on the outside there, but good idea not doing that.
Get everyone's heart rates just down a little bit. Don't want to get too excited just yet, but Rizzo, his heart rate now will be skyrocketing as he dips 2 wheels into the grass in a massive moment on the exit there.
I thought Zazon was going to go around then. And this is enabling Valves to close up as well. It's now down to 1.4 seconds. It was about 2.5 seconds earlier. So we've got battles starting to heat up again everywhere. The DP class is fairly settled in its positions for the top 4, top 5 at the moment. A couple of little battles back in the pack. The last spot on the podium in GTE is definitely starting to close up once again between Hickman and Bryant. Hickman doesn't look like he's got enough pace though to catch back up to the front two in Pelkovic and Biddle. They look like they've pulled away a little.
Struggling to keep my eyes off of this GT3 battle right now as the two come around to start yet another lap, but got to be pretty intimidating, sorry, for Rizzo right now, as he's doing everything he can. And we actually have our first car taking to the pit lane. That's Andreas Sakers, I believe. So he's been struggling for the pace of the GT3 leaders a little bit lately. So this is a big strategy call by him to try something different and see if he can jump some of these guys, which we did see happen at Suzuka. So perhaps not the worst strategy call in the world.
I think it's a pretty good ploy. You've got nothing to lose, especially when you're not catching anyone. You might as well do it, get it out of the way. 11 seconds for his stop, so we'll see what happens there. But on board here with Rizzo, see how close he is. Very, very ginger on the throttle to make sure he's not getting himself in the wrong position.
Through the bus stop chicane, we actually had the GT3 just behind Blasco Vals have a big wiggle, so he's trying hard to get up with these two, and that'd be fantastic to see as a 3-car train in GT3 for your class lead. But right now these two cars are entertaining enough, as Rizzo with a much tighter line through there tries to line the exit up a little bit better, as Zajan just gets 2 wheels in the dirt ever so slightly again. So he's using every inch of track he possibly can to eke any time out of that Mercedes AMG.
Interesting too that just behind them is the leader in GTE. So that could close this pack up.
Actually, just worth noting that the actual 2 leaders in GTE right now, Milos Pavlovic and Elliot Biddle, they've actually closed up a fair bit.
Yeah, just noticed that. It was about 3.5 seconds before. It's now down to 1.6.
So Elliot Biddle making big work through the traffic right now. So
last lap by 1:45.1 for Pavlovic, and Biddle was a 1:43.2.
nearly 2 seconds. How do you like that? That is huge gains by Biddle.
And this is really going to help right now. Look at this. Got the leader for GTE coming through on the leaders who are battling for position in GT3. Oh, this is not a good time. Rizzo's lost out in this.
He's lost out right now, but the fact is that GTE still has to get past Zajan. So, GTE leader nearly into the back of your GT3 leader. Get the headlines out, ladies and gentlemen. But Zajan still has to get that GTE past him. So the longer he waits and the longer he tries to defend what is a much, much faster car, it's just going to hurt him time. But looks like with how the GTE is going to get past here, he might be able to get away okay with this one. But look at Elliot Biddle and GTE too. This is first and second in both GT classes, and they're all closing up on each other.
This is awesome. Wayne Burke's just done the fastest lap of the race as well in the DP class. So all 3 classes really starting to heat up. Nose to tail in GTE, nose to tail in GT3.
And look at Rizzo, he's closed that gap up once more. So like I said now, even though Zajan won out initially in traffic, it's now just come back down to status quo. So he hasn't lost anything, but he hasn't gained anything either, which is fantastic. But what we have gained now is a fantastic battle in GTE.
And Vals is going to get involved in this very, very soon as well. He's now closed it into just over 1 second. So he'll be right on the tail of these GT3 cars. But here we go. It's on for the lead in GTE.
And I think I'm right in saying this is one of the first times we've actually seen this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ford versus Ferrari at the front of GTE. So who are you going for? Are you going for the Ford, or are you going for the prancing horse?
They're the big gain in the draft. That Ferrari of Elliot Biddle. It's enthralling now. 36 minutes left in this race.
It might be 36 minutes for us, but for Milos Pavlovic now, with that mirror full of the ERT car, it might feel like an eternity. But he's had quite a big gap to the field all race, so this is the first time he's been under pressure, so this is going to be a big mindset change for him, so we'll see how he adapts. But just going back to your GT3 class now, it hasn't changed too much, so Zajan still has that gap over Ross Rizzo, but Vals continues to eke time out, and it's only about a second now before he gets onto the back of Ross Rizzo. So it's definitely becoming a 3-way fight in that class too.
This race has been very, very entertaining. These guys have done a great job in putting on a show for us. Go back to the front of GTE once again. I don't know who to watch. Need to work on getting picture-in-picture and split screen. It's happening very soon because it's too hard to keep a track on what's going on.
If we were to get some multicams happening for V8 Online, I think we'd run out of YouTube camera options because there's too many battles to watch right now.
I know. Need to get 3 or 4 computers all going at once, and then we might nearly be able to cover all the action that's going on out there because there's plenty of it.
You might get half of it.
Yeah, maybe. This Biddle's done a great job being able to close up. His last lap time about the same once again, so.
But Biddle's now in the slipstream of Pavlovich, so now that Biddle's here, he can kind of just stay here. He's not as likely to fall away, so Pavlovich has got his work cut out because he has to work much harder than Biddle does to keep the pace up. But just quickly worth noting as well that about 20 minutes ago we said that Wayne C. Burke had, I think it was 12.5 seconds to get to Clint Shane Smith. No, we actually mean 3.1 seconds now, so that gap has came down tremendously, and Burke continues to put in quickest laps in that class.
Yeah, he's closing up very, very quickly. He's definitely the fastest driver on the track in that class, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that when it comes to Paul Feely, the first of those drivers in the pits in the DP class. But this battle is where it's at the moment, the front of the GTE class. In saying that, Biddle's dropped off a little in the last couple of corners.
Yeah, he's using all the track there, so he's still pushing hard, but that that Ford GTE is actually, in my opinion, a little bit quicker than the Ferrari over a lap, but it is the damage which does hurt over a stint. So right now, Pavlovich does have the little advantage, but one mistake from Pavlovich, and he's going to be in a bit of pain for the rest of the race. So he's got a fair bit of pressure on his shoulders. So this battle, even though the gap is easing out a little bit right now, I definitely don't think it's over just yet.
Rizzo's dropped a little bit of a gap back to Zarzon. Saying that, it's only 0.7 of a second, so it won't take too long before that will close up again. One car involved in a bit of a traffic jam will close that up, but all of the packs have closed a little. Spread a little, except for the one that we didn't think was going to take, or thought was going to take a long time to close up, between Clint Smith and Wayne Burke that you just talked about before. Can't even concentrate on what I'm saying tonight. It's down to under 3 seconds anyway. Doing a great job. Mumbling me words. I'm getting there.
Well, GT3 might get interesting right now because we've got our race leader, Luis Paul Gallen, making his way through. Gets past Rizzo pretty easily, but we'll see how he gets past Zarzon. Looks like he'll be on the run to this next corner, so there might not be a change there, but we have GTEs coming through as well. So GT3 might get changed around a little bit as traffic plays in.
This is going to help Rizzo right now. Look at that gap close up to nothing. Zarzon had to run wide to let the DP leader through who was there. And there's now a Ferrari right behind Rizzo.
In those classes. Looks like we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties in this session, which is, you gotta love iRacing. But look at this fight between first and second in GT3 as Rizzo continues to hound the back of Zarzon with plenty of GTE cars just behind, and they can't make a mistake too much either because 2.5 seconds back down the road, Vals continues to put in strong lap times, only a tenth slower than the cars in front. But if he can make traffic work a bit nicer, then he's going to have a big advantage as we have one of the DP cars coming to the pits.
Yeah, Gabriel Ruse is in the lane, so that is his scheduled pit stop coming to be. We'll see the rest of that DP field in very soon. Around about 50 odd minutes in tank of fuel. This is Wayne Burke's just punched out the fastest lap again. 39.7 that time by. It's getting quicker.
I don't think Wayne C. Burke understands the concept of tyre wear. You're not supposed to go quicker, but he's somehow doing it. As I was actually just about to comment on a good battle between two of the DPs, but Samuel Doak has actually just dove into the pits to split that battle up. The two were only separated by about half a second, so we'll see how those two come out of the pits if they're still together. But right now, Haswell's been gifted clear track.
gap first to second in GTE out to 1.3 seconds now. So these front two GTE cars, the last two cars to be on the outright lead lap.
A mistake by Rizzo there into that long right-hander, and look at Vals, he's now all over the back. So Rizzo's gone from being the hunter to the hunted, as Val's now all over the back. He can't try anything as he has to let that GTE through. But a big mistake by Rizzo there, almost getting into the grass through that long right-hander.
Yeah, Val's last week took advantage of misfortune and strategy to get the win last week. And this week he's hoping to take advantage once again. Proved last week that just making sure you stay out of trouble and keep it straight is almost as important as being fast.
Just one of those factors of endurance racing, as we have Clint Smith now diving into the pits, and I believe he's being followed by another car. Just have a look who that is. Wayne Burke. So those two are very close together now. As they head down the pits, we'll see if any of them gets to jump on one another in the pit stops, which I think Wayne Burke would be loving to do. One less car he'd have to pass when he's charged through this field.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Burke gets the jump there. In the stops, Wayne Hewitt in the lane as well, so almost all of the DP cars in the pits. These GT3 cars are going to run it pretty much, sorry, yeah, GT3 cars, I was talking about GT3, are going to run it pretty much dry, I'm fairly sure. Not too sure what's going to happen in GTE though.
Smith comes out of the pits, actually it looks like he might have actually extended the gap to Burke, so Burke with his charge to the field obviously did not have any time to fuel save that car, whereas Smith might have.
Smith's actually jumped Ruse, they're actually side by side. Ruse is now coming back past Smith, but Smith got out ahead of Gabriel Ruse, and that gap's closed up.
So was that perhaps a tyre change for Clint Smith as well, and perhaps just cold tyres?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We're both the same length in pit stops, so not too sure as to why that gap's closed up, but it definitely has. An outright second is well and truly on between three cars now. Gabriel Ruse, Clint Smith and Wayne Burke.
Wayne Burke just a little bit behind those two cars in front, but we've seen his pace already, and with the new fuel load and he's ready to go to the end of the race, we're going to see some very quick lap times I expect from him. But yeah, this race in DP, it's on once again. We didn't expect much of them at Suzuka. We just sort of looked over them a little bit, but for the final 10 minutes, it was all about that battle between those two DPs. So never discount the DPs, I think we've learned.
Yeah, they always provide some entertaining battles, so we will definitely watch what happens in this pack. This will be for second, third, fourth, because it looks like Lewis Gallon is pulling away quite efficiently. Has that gap. It was around about 11 seconds before the pit stops. Now, GTE, the front of this pack, is well and truly on.
Yeah, Pavlovich just got held up a lot by that purple Mercedes you can see in the background there, and Biddle just dove onto the inside when Pavlovich made his move and managed to make the same move as well. So Biddle basically got away scot-free with that traffic and made huge gains on that last lap as well. He was half a second quicker, so Biddle on a bit of a mission now.
Another battle that's going on is between Val Riches and Setsons, Sindre Setsons. These guys have been nose to tail for the last 20 minutes, I'm going to say, 25 minutes. Biggest gap between these guys has been about half a second. At the moment, it's down to about 2/10. So these guys definitely putting on a show, but we'll go back to the front of GTE.
Look like they're having a bit of a contest of who can go wider at turn one, as they're using all the available track there through that opening section. But Biddle now in the slipstream with a pretty good run too. He's not going to be close enough to make any move, but for the rest of this lap, Biddle is going to be right under that rear wing of that Ford GTE. And it could get interesting as well, because we have Luis Polo Gallon just a little bit behind them as well, who could mix things up when he tries to overlap these guys. So this battle, it's close now, but it might be about to get a whole heap closer. Just having a look back at your GT3 field as well, and Rizzo beginning to put the blowtorch back on Zarjon, so he did lose a little bit of time running wide, but he's pulled away from Valves just ever so slightly and is back within probably 0.3 of a second behind Zarjon, and it's actually a lot closer than that now, as Zarjon does not get a great run through that long right-hander, which is cambered, but as they head into the boot section of the track, Rizzo's made some huge gains, and this battle is back on, and Val's just hanging back slightly. Doesn't look like he quite has the pace of the two in front, but maybe this is just another strategy ploy by Val's like he did last week. But look at Rizzo. That is fantastic pace behind the other Mercedes AMG.
Yeah, Rizzo's definitely been a surprise packet in this race. I was not expecting him to have this much pace, especially seeing some of the names in this field. But he's doing a fantastic job. You should be very, very impressed with his performance. Just noticing an issue. Elliot Biddle's just disappeared off my timing screen. Something's happened to him.
Yep, I'm not seeing anything from Biddle either, so not sure what's happened to the ERT driver there, but that's a
Oh, he's
big
having
issue.
internet issues. Internet issues. So he dropped out from the server and he's reappeared and disappeared again. So he's having internet issues. That's unfortunate for him. Wayne Burke's just got ahead of Clint Smith as well. So that's positional change. You can see on screen, Wayne Burke now ahead of Clint Smith. So it's taken him about 20 minutes, but he got back ahead. We didn't think he was going to get there, but he has. And now he has Gabriel Ruse to catch up to. Is just up ahead. And Lewis Gallon has now made his pit stop. So it's 8.5 seconds between Gallon and Ruse. 2.2 seconds between Ruse and Burke. So the end of this DP battle will be well and truly on.
Yeah, this class is just spicing up as the race goes on. So strategy's out of the way now, and look at the battle we've got. So we should have a fantastic fight towards the end of the race, and I don't think anybody in that class could be feeling safe with where they're going to finish.
Yeah.
But I'll just quickly report
noticing
that
Elliot Biddle's actually ahead of Pavlovic. In his internet issues, he's actually jumped ahead somehow.
I'm just wondering, is that perhaps Pavlovic just letting Biddle through because he doesn't want to get involved in any kind of netcode incident?
Potentially.
But Biddle's actually made a big jump. He's still dropping in and out, so I can't actually see him on track right now. But last we saw, he had about a second up the road on Pavlovic, as we can see now. So Biddle's made big gains in that, which is unfortunately through sad circumstances of his internet. But that's a jump there for the GTE race lead.
In saying that, Biddle's internet issues are causing him a lot of havoc, so hopefully he doesn't disappear from the server altogether. So Ross Rizzo still there to try and get this move done. He might actually get some advantage from Lewis Gallon here. No, he won't get any advantage.
Oh,
but look
yes,
at,
he will. Yes, he will.
Here we go. You're not going to be side by side coming up the S's.
This is fantastic. He just has a nose in there, not quite enough. They're going to go nose to tail up the hill now. Very fast section of road. Does he still have any kind of run, or is he out of steam? I think it might be over for this lap, but Rizzo there shows the nose, and Zarjon's going to be a little bit shook after that one.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting him to be there. He moved over a little to let Gallon through, and then before he knew it, Rizzo was pretty much right on the inside of him.
That was fantastic and a very opportunistic move by Rizzo, but fair play, nearly pulled it off too. So this battle's heating up just a little bit now, but still got to think about strategy with these two cars, as you only have 20 minutes to go, and I'm sure they can't make it to the end on fuel. So it's going to be happening very, very soon, where we see this battle shape up a little bit more. And will Blasco Vals pull another stunner in pit strategy?
It definitely can't make it on fuel because half the GT3 field has pitted. So the DP field has completely pitted in that class. So Lewis Gallon leading that over Gabriel Ruse, Wayne Burke and Clint Smith, your top four. That field has definitely settled.
Hopefully no commentator's curse here, but it does look like Elliot Biddle's internet has settled down a little bit. He does appear pretty good right now. And that's actually a very big lead as well over Pavlovic. So that's a big gain for Biddle through unfortunate circumstances, but it looks like we won't lose a driver in this race.
Yeah, he's actually gained 3 seconds, so he was definitely being held up behind Pavlovic. So blessing in disguise in one way, at least having internet issues. And Pavlovic has let him through. Intentionally or unintentionally, but either way. Now it'll come down to pit strategy.
Joel Willis, one of our DPs, makes his way through our GT3 leaders. Looks like he'll get the job done before the bus stop, but Rizzo, so late on the brakes, will he go through the grass? He somehow pulls that up. That was so late on the brakes by Rizzo. He is trying everything he can. I honestly thought we were going to see that GTI car flying through the grass, but fantastic driving from him. And made a huge amount of time through there, but Rizzo, what a push he's making right now.
He just locked up the fronts there coming into, I guess you'd call it the ankle of the boot section as we come into the foot.
Look at the traffic here. So many DPs, so many GT3s.
Saw the wheel work from Rizzo there on board. Change of position in GTE. We see Val Rich is now ahead of Setsars. Been a long time in the work, but Rich has finally got through.
Oh, Zarjan just gets held up a little bit by that prototype, just making his way through. So Rizzo back onto the bumper. These two have been locked together for the last 15 or so minutes. It's been fantastic.
Lewis Gallon just done the fastest lap of the race, the 1:39.6. It's a very, very quick lap.
All three GT3s stay out. Look at Rizzo. He's
Here we
right
go. He's
on
got
the
to
back
run.
now.
Throws it up the inside. Move done. This is change for the lead in GT3. Chops the nose off too.
Here comes Vals. Vals is going to have a run up this section of track. Twisty, windy, and it's job done for Vals. So a horrible lap so far for Zarjan, and he's only 2 corners in.
That's amazing that that's all happened like that. It's now
we
dropped.
can't forget there's still strategy to come into this one. So this is not over yet, as we have, that's the 4th place. Clint Shane Smith in the prototype, spins around in front of all these cars. Hold the brake, hold the brake. Oh, he does it, but that was a bit messy there by Smith. He's just edging his way onto the track. Big moment, but thankfully we've got all our GT3 cars still in this race.
You just see the closing bits of that spin, just the lazy spin coming out of the bus stop chicane, or the inner loop, as it's alternatively called. We don't care which one we call it. They're both the same. Interesting with Vals now what he's going to do here. Played a really clever strategy game last week, we saw.
Look at Zarjan, he's not too happy about having lost his positions, and he's making some time back up onto the back of Blasco Vals. But Rizzo making the most of it right now, and he's just trying to edge that lead out a little bit. And we'll see if any of our cars come into the lane this time around. No.
Look at that lap time from Wayne Burke that time around, a 1:39.3. That's 3/10 quicker than anybody else in this entire race. He is on a mission to try and get that 2nd position away from Gabriel Ruse, but Zarjan has just lost out a little there, being lapped by that GTE car. And 1st and 2nd in GT3 has settled a little as well, with Rizzo now pulling out about 0.8 of a second over Jorge Vals.
Yeah, it's just all about how traffic plays out, so still have that prototype and GTE car yet to make their way past the other 2 GT3 cars, so Zarjan is done for traffic apart from one more GTE, but the cars in front have a lot more to deal with, and it looks like Vals might actually have 2 faster cars to deal with at the same time, as the prototype makes its way past the GTE and looks to get past Vals soon, but a lot of traffic to go past. This traffic can go either way. It can benefit you or it can hurt you.
But he's got someone in his ear. He'd probably be getting told, pit this lap, because he doesn't want to get held up. That being Ross Rizzo I'm referring to. He's got GTE and DP cars all around him closing up. Whoa! Just see the side. A car facing the wrong direction. I think that's Scott Stevens. Yep. That was a little bit lucky. As Rizzo lets the 23 of Clint Smith on by.
If Rizzo is pitting this lap, well, there's nothing quite like a pitting in scare on your final lap before you pit. So I know he's going to stay out one more lap. We'll see what the others do.
Looks like they're all
And we do
staying
have
out.
our first
Oh,
car
yep.
coming in.
Zazon in.
Zajon.
Yep. So this is potentially a good strategy play for him as well. Clear him out of that traffic. He was getting held up. You could see more traffic coming up behind him. Could help him jump, depending on what these other guys do in regards to strategy.
Yeah, I'll just keep an eye out on Zajon and see if he comes out in traffic. But this is the first of our GT3 cars to make a strategy play. He's out of the pits pretty quickly, making his way down pit road. And now, will Rizzo and Vals respond very soon? You'd have to think so.
They'd have to come in this lap. Number one, I don't think it goes much longer than an hour and 5 minutes to a tank. And number two, you wouldn't want to get undercut, especially when there's been traffic involved. And saying that, they've had a fairly clear track for this lap.
But so does Zajon. Zajon's come out and there's not a single car around him, so he's got the world to play with right now, and we'll see how that, if that changes anything.
Gap for P2, P3 in DP class is on. Roos and Burke separated by 7/10 of a second, so I'll keep one eye on that. And the front of GTE, both those two cars in the pits now. Biddle moving away. Pavlovic still stopped, and a 1 second longer stop for him. So still 3 cars left in this race, left to pit. But Ross Rizzo, Jorge Valls, the leaders in GT3, still yet to make their pit stops. Continuing on.
Rizzo out, Vals is coming in, so Vals makes his strategy call, but Rizzo, how far has he stretched this field? Looks like he's been the one that's been pushing the most out of these 3 cars, but he's also going to be the one that goes the longest on fuel, so we'll see what happens there, as has to take avoiding action to that DP there. Good job by him, but
and a
slower work by Rizzo.
Slower GT3 car ahead of him, a DP car coming up to pass him.
Oh, the GT3
I don't know.
guys got the
Oh no!
together!
Rizzo is out of this race. That is.
Can you believe
Oh
it?
no! That is disaster. Rizzo had driven an absolutely fantastic race. You saw a wiggle from the front of the GT3 ahead of him, who is Cameron in the number 32. But that's devastating for Rizzo.
Just heading towards the bus stop now is Jorge Blasco Valls. He's ahead of the car behind him and on track before he finishes his lap. Is most likely going to see that stricken car of Ross Rizzo. And once again, with just a few minutes left, it's going to be Jorge Blasco Valls leading this class, but not in the circumstances anyone wanted to see.
Battle for DP, second and third on track at the moment.
Just quickly, unfortunately, Rizzo has actually just parked the car now and officially escaped the track.
Yeah.
So
Too much
massive
damage to that car.
disappointment.
That's so unfortunate for him, but hey, guess what? Jorge Valls is leading once again. 2 in a row. Roos
Well,
and we
still
said it earlier,
11
didn't
minutes.
we? Oh, Burke just nearly threw it up the inside coming into the carousel. Gabriel Roos. Burke's got some great pace out there at the moment.
And I think when Burke had that spin later, I think just a little bit earlier in the race, I think we're all losers because both him and Gabriel Roos have taken big time out of Luis Paulo Gallen. So this was Wayne C. Burke's race to win, unfortunately, and hasn't gone to plan right now. But with still 11 minutes to go, we thought everything would be going to plan, but we just saw in GT3, you cannot expect anything to go well in this field. So Luis Paulo Gallen hasn't quite sealed this deal just yet, despite having a 5-second lead.
He's only 4.5 seconds up the road. Last lap by Wayne Burke was 1 second quicker. 10 minutes to go. I'm going to guess that's 8 laps, 7 laps at this track. 7 laps it'll be. Burke could do it.
Yeah, Burke's been on a mission right now, constant setting fastest laps, but definitely has the difficult task of getting past Gabriel Roos right now. But once he does that, it's all clear air to Luis Paulo Gallon, and that would be a huge deal for him.
These guys are 10th quicker than Gallon that time around. They didn't have any traffic to work with or battle with that lap, so they just drove it just between the two of them. But this is a great battle. And Lewis Gallon 4.4 seconds up the road. Here comes Burke. He's in the draft. He's close enough. Thinks about it. No.
Yeah, it's always risky in the bus stop, but if that clock hits 2 minutes to go, I'm sure he won't really care about the risk too much, and he'll give it a shot anyway. But
chuck it in there.
See what happens.
She'll be right.
Right now, Burke just continues to keep the pressure on Roos and see if he can make a mistake happen out of that car.
Change of position again in GTE. Setsaz has now got back ahead of Vale Riches in those pit stops. So Riches got through before the stops and now he's back in behind again.
But look at this traffic. Is he going to be ahead for much longer? There is traffic, and Riches has a run. Thinks about it into the bus stop, but not quite. But he had a massive run on Sindre into that corner there. So you said it right there. He's made a great move up ahead of Val's, ahead of Riches. But for how long?
It's been some awesome battles the whole way through this race, and that's what I thoroughly enjoy about this series. I've loved every minute that we've broadcast this series so far. We're only week 2. We've still got 10 more weeks of this to go. Bring it on.
I can't handle this. I need to sit down.
One of my favourite tracks next week as well, Sonoma, so I can't wait for that. That'll be awesome. Here comes Riches. He's close enough. Is he going to throw it up there? No. Backs out of it. Interesting.
Actually fallen off the back of Roos a little bit.
Yeah, I was just about to say the exact same thing. Wayne Burke has dropped off. He's now 2 seconds behind Roos. So something's happened to him in regards to tyres, or he could have run out of tyres, I'm guessing, because he's been pushing ultra hard.
Yeah, I'm just having a look through the replay now, and I'm not seeing any obvious run wide or spin. It's just progressively happened over the lap. So perhaps he's realised he's short on fuel, or like you said, perhaps he's realised, hey, my tyres just can't cope with this much longer.
This is our first of 2 75-minute races in this series. Week 7 we'll also have a 75-minute race at Spa. But next week we're off to Sonoma, and I cannot wait for that race. Absolutely love that track. Running the longer layout as well, which will be awesome fun. But this battle here, this is 5th and 6th in the GTE class between Sindre Setsaz and Vale Riches. We've got 7 minutes left on the clock. Not long to go.
Can't do it around the outside, surely. Riches has to think about it, but just falls back into line. But he's definitely starting to get a little bit impatient behind that bright red Scarlet Ferrari. So Riches is definitely making his intentions clear, but I'm not sure around the outside in equal cars will work too well, but hey, you never know.
How you doing, I think, with 7 minutes left on the clock? We're predicting 5 laps to go in this race, so currently on lap 41 for our race leaders, and under 7 minutes to go, so 5 laps left, we're fairly sure. This has been an absolutely epic battle. Hey, have a look at the lead. The gap between first and second in in DP, just in regards to times, it's down to 3.7 seconds, so Roos is closing. We'll keep an eye on that. That's definitely not over.
Massive gains on that last lap. It was upwards of 0.8 of a second, which continue at that rate. He's there at the end of the race, so
he's there with 1 to go. Oh, here comes Riches. The alternate line, and it's my favourite saying, the alternate line down the front straight from Sindre, and around the outside goes Vale Riches. Move done. Great job. I was not ready for that.
Well, this just shut me up. Can't go around the outside. What are you talking about?
What do we know?
By Riches there.
That's why we're sitting up here. Great move from Vale. That was ultra impressive.
That was just complete.
Oh, here he comes back up the inside into the bus stop. They're side by side. And move done again.
Oh, it's bus stop o'clock. That's when you know the gloves are off. This is going to get really feisty with just a few laps to go now. Oh, I can't handle this.
5.5 minutes left on the clock. 5 laps to go. Oh, what a battle. Now, The front of GT3 is closed up now to 1.8 seconds as well. Here comes Richards. He's going to try around the outside again. He won't be able to do it, but he might be able to over-under and get a run. And once again, Sindre has to take that alternate line. Oh, here we go. Big moves, big dives. I'm loving this.
This is on for young and old. How can you not love this? Vi Rich is using all of his experience, which he has plenty, to attack the back of this car. This is fantastic, and we still have 4 laps to go.
GT3 car just ahead as well, just to make it ultra interesting.
Oh, well, don't forget the DP car just behind. We've got all the ingredients right here, as he has a little bit of a look there into that final corner. Doesn't do it, but will he get the run into the first corner? Once more, there's a GT3 car in the mix as well. Boys, please no 3 wide.
It could happen.
Oh no.
It's not going to happen, thankfully, but this is a great battle right here. This is for 5th and 6th in the GTE class.
Rich is just muscled his way past between Haxton and the GT3 there, so he's got no time for slower traffic cars as he continues to hound the back of the leading car there. Oh, sorry, Sindre Satas. And also in your DP field, the gap continues to come down in that past lap, and Paul O'Gallen having a bit of trouble making your way past some of your GT3 leaders. Oh, but Roos now gets held up, so it's going toe for toe there, tit for tat, if you want to say, in that field. So still that gap trying to come down for the DP class, but right now Richies and Satas continue to be the highlight of our show.
Interesting on that up the front of DP, that Wayne Burke's closed back up a little. It's down to a second between he and Ruse once again, so we'll definitely have not seen the end of this. Hey, this is a big help for Val Richies. DP up the inside, going to get both of them by the looks though. I thought Richies might have been able to follow that DP through. Here he goes, up the inside.
He's kept his nose there.
Oh, hard to pass up the inside through this part of the track. He's going to
gonna
hold
be
it
alongside for this next corner, which he will have the inside, but will Setas be able to hold it around the outside and get the inside? Oh,
Yes.
They nearly touched, but now Setas is going to have the inside, so this might be job done for him. Or will Richies go for a crossover? He's going to try it. Will he get the better run into turn 1? Let's find out.
This is an awesome battle from these guys. These two guys have been separated by no more than a second from about the 15-minute mark in this race.
They're both using all the track, both using the absolute limit of both their talent, which is massive. But these guys, on for young and old, and with only 3 laps to go now registered, this is going to get very, very interesting. DP class, Paul O'Gallen once again getting blocked by traffic in that final corner. It's 2.9 seconds as we speak right now. They're heading across the start-finish line. What's that gap?
1.2.
1.3!
Fastest lap of the race there from Gabriel Ruse. 1:39.1. What a lap. Burke with a 39.6 and Gallen with a 40.7. Have a look at the massive gain in time from Ruse. He is there with 2 laps to go in this race. 1:50 on the clock. They'll get the white flag next time by. Traffic is going to play key in the front of this DP field.
And Lewis Paul Gallen stuck at the bus stop behind one of your ERT Ferrari GTEs. So that is Gabriel Ruse gaining even more time with Wayne C. Burke in his tow. With 1 lap to go, we might have a neck-and-neck field in your DP class as Gallen still cannot get past that Ferrari.
He's going to have to do it around the outside or just throw it. Here he goes, throws it up the inside here.
Oh, big move. He might have actually hurt himself there. He might have cost himself time. You can see that even the GTE Ferrari had a bit of a run on him briefly before that Corvette powers up. So Gabriel Ruse is gaining even more time. How will he get past? Oh, not a problem in the world. So this is fantastic stuff.
Live time, the live timing is saying 1 second between first and second and 1.2 between second and third. This has been an awesome battle that has amounted to something absolutely epic as the guys cross the line with 40 seconds on the clock. It'll be 1 to go. Gallen runs very wide.
Gallen has 5,420 meters and he'll be counting every single one of them. As
He
that
won't
black
breathe as
Daytona
well.
Prototype just continues to hound the back of him as Vi Richies and Sindre Satas looks to have settled down ever so slightly. By settled down, I mean about 0.4 of a second. But right now, we have to keep an eye on this DP field.
For sure, it's definitely the battle of the race at the moment. It is for the outright win, the class win. 0.8 of a second, 0.6 of a second now live. This gap is closing dramatically. Ruse now down to 0.5 of a second.
Does Gallon have enough fuel for this lap? He's been slow consistently, so is that fuel saving? Will oh! That is gone! Unbelievable!
Wow!
Roos, the final lap, has spun, exiting the bus stop. He gave it everything he had. He's been working so hard, but he just overstepped the mark ever so slightly, which he cannot afford to do in these cars, and it's cost him big time.
That is so devastating for him. He'd done a great job in this race. It's the replay of that on screen from a different view, but just pushing a little bit too hard, was on the throttle a little bit too early. The car was unsettled, and around it goes. So that'll hand the win to Lewis Gallon. He's got a couple of second lead still over Wayne Burke. 2 corners left to go now.
Surely it can't go wrong from here. Sure.
Oh, I hope not. I hope not for his sake. He didn't have a great run on Tuesday night in the Midweek Sports Car Championship, but tonight here, IMSA, great drive from him. Ultra quick, great strategy. Picks up the win. Lewis Gallon wins in the DP class round 2. So we've got Jorge Valls, coming through the final corner. He'll pick up the win in GT3 2 weeks in a row as well. So congratulations to him. Smart play and pit strategy. A little bit of good luck on his side. Picks up 2 from 2.
Elliot Biddle now in your GTE class, rounding the final corner, comes across the start-finish line to win GTE in a dramatic finish for that class where a bit of internet connection did play a factor, but he kept the pace up. He did the strategy perfectly, and Milos Pavlovich is going to have to settle for second, and that's a fantastic result for him in the 4 GTE.
Wow, what a race it's been.
Oh, and sorry.
Oh, here we go.
3rd and 4th in GTE. Where's this come from?
Yeah, awesome battle here. Hickman, Bryant still going at it. They've been separated by about 1.5 seconds most of the race, but this is mounted out of absolutely nothing. Hickman's going to hold on. Great result to come 3rd after looping it around at turn 1, lap 1.
Richies has a big run on
Richies, is he going to get him at the line?
Look at this, that's NASCAR stuff.
Oh, 5/100ths of a second. Sindre's got him by 5/100ths of a second. Wow.
What a race. That
Fantastic.
was fantastic.
Awesome job from the entire field. What a night of racing. Oh, you got your breath?
No,
No, neither do I, but we'll quickly go through the DP results. Lewis Gallon, 1.3 second win in the end over Wayne Burke. Gabriel Ruse, unfortunate, looping it at the bus stop chicane on the final lap, on the 45th lap. He picks up 3rd. Clint Smith in 4th position. One incident there probably cost him a podium result. Heath Brennan in 5th. Wayne Hewitt in 6th position. Paul Feely in 7th. Blake Haspel in 8th. And Sam Dakey in 9th position. Joshua Burden, unfortunately, DNF'd in that race. To go to GTE next, I'll let you do it, mate.
So your class winner is, for ERT, Elliot Biddle, doing a fantastic job in that class. Milos Pavlovich coming home 2nd, with Dustin Hickman rounding off the podium, just ahead of Maxime Bryant in that field, with Sindre Setes and Vi Richies neck and neck across the start-finish line for our 5th and 6th in that class. Geraint Chevalier and Darren Marsh in the 2 positions just behind. And we have Patrick Fleece and Pierre Leonardi and Zachary Hanlon, who got involved in that first lap incident, rounding off your GTE field.
Yeah, it's for me to butcher some names here in GT3. Jorge Valls picking up the win. We've got Zazon in 2nd. Trent Thomas has ended up making his way into 3rd, so great drive from him. We didn't focus on him at all, so he's kept out of absolute trouble. Brought it home in 3rd position. 4th position to Seacast. Then we've got Silvassi in 5th. Rapper in 6th. Haxon in 7th. Cameron in 8th. Ross Rizzo unfortunately finishes in 9th position after getting involved in that incident coming up through the S's with lap traffic, and Scott Stevens rounds out almost all of the GT3 field in 10th position, and last is Jacob Su. I don't think I butchered names as badly as I thought I was going to then. That wasn't too bad.
Did yourself proud. But what a race that was. Action from start to finish, and with that and Suzuka both done now, I think this is basically the norm of what we can expect in this series. This has been fantastic so far.
I'm going to have a bit more rest during the day before these races, because these are absolutely hard in your mouth, hold your breath stuff. It's been absolutely awesome. But I cannot wait for next week. We're off to Sonoma next week for the long circuit, so using the inner part of the circuit and the drag strip coming up the hill, so that'll be good fun. In these cars, we'll see some really, really interesting passes, because it is a very, very tough track to pass on. So really looking forward to next week.
Yeah, how can you not? Sonoma Raceway, it's going to be an incredible race there. Plenty of undulation and passing opportunities there, so you do not want to miss that race. And yeah, like you said, I think I'm going to take the day off work next week, because this has been incredible stuff both rounds so far.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, our next broadcast will be Sunday night. We'll be online live from around about 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for V8 Supercar Online Premier Series here at Watkins Glen, running on the Cup layout. So we will have the V8 Supercars on the Super Speedway. That's what it's become known as in the past. So we'll run with that. The Super Speedway of V8 Supercars. We'll then be back here again on Monday night for the official V8 Supercar Series. Back here again Tuesday night for the Midweek Sports Car Championship. And then, of course, next Thursday we'll be off to Sonoma for IMSA once again. Bo, thank you so much for jumping in with me again tonight, mate. Thoroughly enjoyed having you in the box with me.
Yeah, no worries, mate. I love being here, especially when we get the kind of entertainment that we did tonight. Fantastic stuff, and can't wait to be back next week.
Make sure you tune in next week. But this is V8s Online signing off for Thursday night IMSA. This has been a production of V8s Online. We will see you next time.
When I sat in the car, you always wonder, what's it going to feel like? It was my first time driving a mid-engine GT car. My thoughts were, wow, this is really good for our first time in a car. I was really surprised by it. You're sitting low, you got the A-pillars at steep angles, the windshields at steep angles, you can see the fender flares. I think we have a chance to win. Everything's got to go right, but I think we have a car that can win the race or be on the podium. But can you imagine how cool that would be to to go back 50 years later to the year and do it.